this. Okay. All right. So today we'll discuss floating point numbers, and in the beginning we'll start with regular number, the integer numbers, and then we'll move towards floating point numbers. We'll see the need for that. Okay. So these are topics that we'll discuss. So we'll first start with other numbers, other types of numbers, and then we'll look at what are the scientific notations, and then we'll discuss floating point numbers, and then there are some special cases floating points that we'll discuss. We'll also look at in very brief about the floating, what are the limitations of floating point numbers. Okay, note that every number system that we have has some limitations. Okay, and so floating point numbers will have some limitations. Reason is that in general in a computer we have 32-bit or 64 bits available to represent something. Okay, and there is only limited amount of numbers that you can represent. Okay, and that to number when you represent has to have limited accuracy. Okay, so highly, see, there are two things that we try to optimize when we create a new number system. First is the range, how many numbers we can represent, right? For example, in 32-bit architecture, if you look at unsigned numbers, then we can do it up to 2 to the power 32 numbers. That's 0 to 2 to the 32 minus 1. So many numbers, right? Beyond this we can't. And what is the accuracy of these numbers, integer numbers? Accuracy is, okay, accuracy is that any two numbers differ only by 1. Okay, so that's the accuracy. So we have to play between the two, the range and accuracy, and create a new system, because in integer number system we have only limited range and limited accuracy. Okay, all right. So I have taken the reference primarily from this contents of this talk from 3 places. Usually I take it from these places, like this Brand's book, this excellent book. At least on this topic is very, the chapter is very well written, and of course the PPTs have been taken from these two sources. Okay, so okay, James Gosling is the one who invented Java, so certainly very smart guy. He says that 90% of the folks out there are completely clueless about floating point. Okay, you ask even software engineers in industry, ask them, have you done floating point programming and what is a floating point, and they will mostly goof up, because beyond integer and sometimes some other number system, people don't comprehend floating point numbers very well. Okay, so it's very important that you must understand the floating point number. We'll also look at the motivation, and before that a few cartoons. So this one on the right says that it's not exact science, so it is inexact science. That is true. In general, floating point cannot represent everything accurately. Okay, and it's not as regular as integer numbers, right? I mean, so we'll look at some aspects later. uh, okay, so this is the number system all of you are familiar with. I mean, represent unsigned number which does not have sign using number of bits. Okay, so here 0b represents a binary number, and then this is 6-bit representation. Okay, so you were using 6 bits to represent a number. Okay, when we when you convert this into decimal, then you'll have to put in this kind of weight, right? 2 raised power 0 for first bit, and uh, 0th bit, and then first bit you have 2 raised power 1, second bit 2 raised power 2, and so on. Okay, so in this way of representation, we cannot represent fractions, right? Okay, And all our bits are basically non-negative power of 2. That's 2 raised power 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So we cannot represent anything, which is fractional. Okay, so it has to be all integer. Okay, so there's a limitation. So example is that if we have this 6-bit pattern as 101010, so corresponding decimal number is 42, of course base 10. Okay, so what do you note here? Note here the two things. First is the fractional part cannot be present. It means that real numbers, and very often we use real number. Even our life also we use real numbers. We can't say that uh, you know if you go to market and somebody who's selling fruits say that give me 20 rupees 50 paisa. So 20.5 rupees you have to give, right? So there's a where is a fractional part, then you cannot represent this with integer. So there's a limitation. And also the second thing is that mini and yeah it second point comes from the first point, is that the difference between two numbers here is 1. Okay, and third of course is the range. Range here is there are 6 digits, so it has to be 2 raised power 6 representations you can have. So there's a limitation. Okay, all right, same thing we have discussed here. So next thing is that of course we can have then a notation binary point. Okay, so now you put a binary point in the middle or somewhere, and you say that there can be certain number of positions after binary point and certain number of positions before binary point. Now the position of this has to be fixed in a representation in a computer, right? Only if there are suppose 6 bits, then you say that there can be this position is at the third place. Actually there can be 4 bits on the right hand side and 2 bits on the left hand side or something different, right? So but position of this binary point is fixed. Okay, and that signifies the boundary between negative and non-negative powers. So something that is on the right of this point, binary point, they will have negative powers. The 2 raised to minus 1, 2 raised to minus 2, 2 raised to minus 3, and towards the left it will be positive powers. Okay, now we'll see this is one example, that if you have 10.1010 base 2, then it will be equivalent to 2.625 of 10, which we know. Okay, so now let's look at the range. Although we have 6 digits here or 6 bits available to represent number, and we say that binary point is fixed at this place, it means only 2 can be on the left hand side and 4 into right. So what is the range? We'll see the range is between, I mean, this is 0, this is the lowest number, 0.0000, which is equivalent to 0 decimal 0, to 11.1111, which is equivalent to 3.9375. So that's all. In 6 digits we are able to represent 0 to 3.9375. Now note that had we not had this point here, we would have represented 0 to 2 raised power 6 numbers, which is 256. What is it? 64. Okay. So range, as we have more digits on the right hand side of this binary point, the range reduces, but accuracy becomes higher. All right. Do you see some other problem here? Even with this notation, we cannot represent each and every number that lies between, say, 1 and 2, or 2 or 3, right? So there is always, because they here this fractional part, it's always has to be 1 by 2 or 1 by 4 or 1 by 8. and combination or addition of these. That's all. So it does not mean that it can represent everything. Okay, and this is the way we represent it. That this is a binary point, and then these are, we represent these as bits, b1 to bi, and then b minus 1, b minus 2 to bj, and then its decimal value is given by this number, summation of bk into 2 raised power k. Is exactly what we have done here to calculate all this, right? So is it clear? Any question up to this point?
No, sir.
So what limitation you see?
The range of numbers is very small.
Yeah. Then accuracy is also limited, right?
Yes.
Although, so these are the problems, right? Okay, all right. Let's move ahead. Okay. So this is another way of representing. I mean, if you have 5 3 by 4, then we can represent this by, and so on, right? So this is the same thing. One observation is that, as you would have already seen in previous classes, that by if you shift right, then it's divided by 2, and if you shift left, multiply by 2. I mean, we have seen, in fact, I mean, we have done some examples also. That's the advantage of this number system. Okay. All right. However, there is a limitation that all numbers that we can represent has to be of the form this one, x by 2 raised power k. Okay, and something in between we cannot represent, right? So for example, if we have number like 1 by 3, then corresponding binary number would be repetition of 0 0 1 0 1 0 1 0 1 0 till infinite, right? Even then we cannot represent it accurately. Okay, similarly 1 by 5 and 1 by 10 cannot be represented. And note that we have only limited number of bits available to represent. Then it means that we cannot represent these numbers accurately. Okay, so this is a limitation of this number system that we have discussed. Okay, and then let's see what all we can represent 32 bits, right? Because what we are discussing in RISC-V is 32-bit architecture. We can represent only few things, right? So far we have discussed only signed numbers and unsigned numbers. So unsigned numbers we can represent from 0 to 2 raised power 32 minus 1. And signed number, we have seen that half of these numbers on the left hand side negative, and almost half are positive. Of course, negative side will be one more than positive. Okay, so basically 2 raised power 31 approximately on each side. That's all. That's the range. If you want to in your calculation number goes to 2 raised power say 60, and its sign could be positive minus, you cannot do it with this one. Okay, and then we can, of course, 4 ASCII characters we can represent, and then of course some 32-bit can represent instruction and addresses that we have seen in case of RISC-V. Now we have 32-bit instruction, so that instruction is may also have immediate field, or it could, may also have some other fields. Similarly, address in 32-bit architecture is of 32 bits, so that can also be represented with 32 bits word, a word that consists of 32 bits. Okay, but we have seen that all these are the problem. We have already discussed this. We have to represent very large number. Okay, note here it's not 2 raised power 23, it's a 10 raised power 23. So 6.02 into 10 raised 23, this can't be represented by 32-bit signed or unsigned number that we have studied, or unsigned. Okay, how about very small number? If the small number is 6.626 into 10 to the power minus 34, this can't also be represented. And how about infinite? Can you represent infinite using 32-bit integer, or No, you cannot. Similarly, we cannot represent not a number. So there can be situation, where calculations are throwing something which is not a number. It's not defined. So that can also be represented and it can be used in debugging. Okay, if there, see, otherwise what happens if you do some operation, it's not defined, then system crashes. Okay, or system comes out of execution. Okay, some exceptions are raised and corrective action is taken, it takes place, right? Earlier system used to crash, actually virtually crash. Even now you try to do this calculation, possibly you will see that your program terminates. Okay, now if you assign to certain situations conditions like that NaN, not a number, then it may, you can do further diagnostics rather than interpreting that crash, reason for crash is because of the result is something which is not a number. All right, similarly infinite, if you represent infinite by bit patterns and division of some number with 0 results into infinite, then it can be represented. Okay, any question? All right, okay, simple. Let's move ahead. So in order to take care of all these things, what we have is floating point. Okay, all right. So now before going into floating point, let's look at scientific notation. Okay, scientific notation for decimal is this one. So we can represent a number by this. Okay, it is for example number is 2.625. Of course the decimal, so we are writing here 10 subscript 10 and then 10 raised power 23. Okay, this, if you solve this, then it will correspond to some number. Okay, now if that number you represent in with limited number of bits, then you cannot represent it. But if we somehow create a format such that this can be represented within say 32 bits, then of course we can represent this number. All right, so what are various parts of this? First is that significant, this part. Okay, something that is towards right of this decimal point. Okay, or this point, this is called significant. We also sometimes call fraction or fractional. Okay, so we can use it frac also. Some books uses notation frac, some use significant. It's fine, and we can use either of the two. And second important thing is this decimal point, the position of this point. Okay, third is of course base or radix, which is 10, and the fourth is exponent, which is 20, this one. Okay, note that we have to make it normalized in most of the calculations, right? So so it can be of two type, normalized and non-normalized, right? So normalized is one, there is only one digit that is non-zero to the left of decimal point. So here there is only one digit which is non-zero. Okay, so for example this number here 1.0 into 10 to the power minus 9 is a normalized number, whereas 0.1 into 10 to the power minus 8, same number can be represented with this one, but this is not normalized because you see on left hand side of decimal point is 0, it has to be non-zero and there's one digit. Okay, so here of course I mean it looks like we are using binary, but it's decimal. It suppose this could have been a 2.0 or this could be 0.2. Okay, so basically there has to be one non-zero digit in decimal. Okay, any question? You need to unmute and ask question because on my screen I can only see this PPT, so chat I don't focus on. Okay, All right. So we cannot represent, decimal in computer directly. You cannot put, 0, 1, 2, 3. We have to convert them into binary. Okay, hence we use notation, scientific notation, which is binary. And this point is called binary point. Then earlier we used to call decimal point. Now we'll say binary point. The rest of the notation the same. Okay, this part is called significant, this is called exponent, and the basis or radix is defined here, which is always 2 in case of binary. Okay, and this arithmetic, computer arithmetic, we call it floating point arithmetic. Okay, it's because of this binary point is called float. Okay. Okay, now in C, you would see that you have declaration called float. Okay, as a float is a type. Okay, all right. So, but if you use this notation, then also arithmetic is comparatively simpler. Say, for example, if to convert ordinary number, you can just shift, to right or left, and then you get you can create this notation, right? So, for example, if okay, so if this is the number, okay, if you have to convert this into just plain binary number, sorry, here we are using decimal. So then you shift this 2 raised power 4. I'm sorry, this is a base 2, not this should also, we should have written it in binary, but nevertheless. So shift it towards left by 4 position and you get this number. Okay. And same thing we can do it in case of negative powers. Shift it towards right and then you get corresponding number. All right. So basically in scientific notation, the calculation is not that difficult. Okay. All right. All right. So now let's come to floating point number. Floating point number is nothing but it's a similar one, but the format we have to define more precisely. Notations are very similar. Okay, notations are exactly same, but how do we actually store these values into computer word is important. Okay, so we'll look at 32-bit word and we'll see where different things will come. So for example, this is positive number, so there should be something to represent this number, something should be there to represent exponent, okay, and something to represent this part which is significant. So that's all, these are the fields. Okay, but how do we represent, whether we just put all these bits here or you similarly put here, that's to be seen. Okay, all right, any question? Anyone? Can I ask somebody to
Yes, sir.
explain? Okay, Gunjan, are you there?
Yes, sir.
So tell me, what is why can't we manage everything using integers? See, there are some limitations of integer numbers, right? Or
Sir,
representation.
because we cannot represent all real numbers with integers.
What else? Good.
So, sir, we need to represent fractions, we need floating point integers. Flo-
Floating point. Yeah, floating point.
Sorry, floating point numbers.
Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Good. Good. All right. So let's move ahead. Okay. Let's look at the example. See, lot of calculations that we do in real life requires huge numbers, big size numbers, and then with high accuracy. For example, when when a space shuttle is to be fired, there are thousands of calculations happening, and sometimes accuracy has to be microseconds, up to level of microseconds, right? And so this requires high degree of precision. Okay, and if you have done programming and not done you're not properly used floating point numbers, obviously you can't use integers, right? And if you're not use proper floating point numbers, or usage is not proper, or conversion from integer to floating point and floating point to integer in the program is not appropriate, then it can result into disasters. And there is one such example of Erin. Uh, okay, look at this video for a minute. Okay, so we are back. Why did this happen? The reason was this floating point number, 64-bit floating point number was assigned to 16-bit integer. So and programming language of course allow this, and programmer couldn't think about it that you can't do that, all the accuracy is lost. Okay. Similarly, Patriot missile defense system misses a Scud missile, right? You would have seen, possibly studied that, Patriot missile intercepts other missile on air, right? And it happened that once it missed it, and they found out is again floating point number uh, problem, because essentially is rounding error. I mean, there is a, and these rounding errors that happens when you assign floating point to integer or integer to floating point, and there is no accuracy in that conversion, then this rounding error keeps on adding, and finally the ultimate result is totally different. Okay. All right. So with this, it means that we need to represent numbers accurately and very precisely using floating point. And floating point gives you longer ranges and more precision. But this precision is not the highest level of precision you would expect. There is always a limitation in the precision, and that we'll see now. So we use floating point to represent wide range of values, both very small to very large, and keep as much precision as possible. Nobody says that highest level of precision. So this precision is defined that we can do with floating point numbers. But when you are actually designing a system, and as important as aircraft design or missile design and so on, you have to consider that precision level. Okay. All right. And of course we can have some special numbers which are plus infinite, minus infinite, not a number, etc., overflow, underflow, etc. Okay. So basically, we moved into floating point with two concerns. First is a more precision and more range, because if you try to represent this number, which is not a very big number for many calculations, then if you just use ordinary representation, unsigned representation, then you will have 101 followed by 100 zeros. Of course, and this is not possible to represent in a computer, because note, in computer we have only 32 or 64 bits available to represent a number, right? All right, so now we come to floating point number design. Okay, and the pioneering work was done by Professor Kahan of Berkeley, and because of this work he got Turing Award, ACM Turing Award. It's equivalent to computer science Nobel or Nobel Prize, right? So it's extremely prestigious award. Okay, so and there is an IEEE society has come out with a standard for representation of floating point, because standardization is needed, because then every designer or every programming language will use the same representation to represent a floating point number, right? So this standard defines binary floating point arithmetic. Note the binary here, because it could be decimal as well. So now we know the notation already because we have seen just now, but okay, let's represent this number using base 2 scientific notation. Okay, as we have to represent a sign here, whether positive or negative. See, this is unlike 2's complement, right? In 2's complement, sign bit is not explicit, it's implicit. Okay, so here we explicitly show sign number, okay, sign bit or sign, and then there is only one digit, which is one, just one. Okay, it cannot be zero. It's a normalized, it means that it is only one digit towards the left of this binary dot. Okay, and this bit has to be one, and then we have certain number of bits here which is represented x. Now this can be of different bits. I mean, x is just a representation which can take any value, 0 or 1. Into 2 raised power, this is exponent part, y, and y bit can be 0 or 1. Okay, so basically we have three things that we are representing in this number. Note, power is always 2 raised power, so we don't need to represent this in 32 bits that we have. Similarly, this 1 has to be always there, normalized case, so we don't have to represent this. All we need to represent is this one and the one here and sign bit. So these are three things that we are going to put inside 32-bit frame. Okay, 30-bit format, but we are not going to put them as it is, right? So this is what it is. So we have one sign bit here, which can be either 0 and 1, 0 or 1, and 0 represent positive and 1 negative number. And then we have 8 bits of exponent and 23 bits of significant or fractional part. Okay, so we have used this color, maroon color, to represent significant, and blue color to represent exponent. Okay, so we have 8 bits of exponents and 23 bits of significant. Okay, note that significant is only something after this binary point, these numbers. Okay, all right.
Sir,
Yeah,
but using like this representation, how can we represent zero?
we will come to that, right?
Okay.
We'll come to those are the special cases. Okay, so S represents sign bit, exponent represents y's. So this y's that are here, power part, the one which represents power, will come here in some form. I am not telling still that they will come as it is. If you have a number to represent which is 1.010 into 2 raised power 20, all I am not telling that this 20 equivalent of 20, right? Whatever binary number will come here. It will not come here. Okay, it will come in certain form. So think about it. However, these will come here in significant part. Okay, all right, and only 23 can come here. That's the limitation. If you have a number which is 1 dot say 10 10 10 50 such numbers, so 50 such bits, then they cannot come. Only 23 of these can come here. Okay, and because of there can be rounding error or something like that, or the precision can be only limited, defined, and that is determined by these 23 bits. Okay, so one key idea is that it looks like sign and magnitude number, right? Looking at the sign bit, you know it's a positive or negative. Okay, and looking at the exponent number, you should be able to tell whether it's smaller number or bigger number. Now, one argument you can say is that why we are not using 2's complement here. So suppose power is negative, say 2 raised power of minus 1010 or something like that. How do we are going to represent this? Then it means that we should also have a sign bit here. Okay, so and secondly, if you use 2's complement, but just by sheer look, just look at it, you can't make out is which is bigger and smaller. For example, if you have 1111 in 2's complement, this value is -1. Okay, while looking at it, just and look at, for example, if you have actually said +2 number, this will be 010 0010. Now, just if you look at these two numbers, you can't make out which is bigger and smaller. Okay, you will always think this is bigger. So once 2's complement is good in mathematics, computer arithmetic, but when people design arithmetic floating point number, they thought that it's good to design in such a way that you can make out, just look at it, what is bigger, and this actually helps in certain number of calculations. We'll see some of these. Okay, just before that, just a small exercise for you. Which is smaller number, 0 or 1 into 10 raised to minus 127?
Zero.
Which of these?
0.
0.
Good. On second one?
-127.
Good. Third one?
-1
Minus
into 10.
127.
Okay. And fourth one?
-126.
126.
Okay, good. So, all right. So now let's come to something which is little tricky. We call it bias notation. Okay. So the exponent, looking at exponent, we should, as we discussed earlier, we are not going to use 2's complement to represent negative number. So we are looking at it, we should know whether it's a smaller and bigger. So what we do is that we add to that a number 127, and 127 comes is because we have only 8 bits in exponent part. So so if we add, say, and this comes out to 128. Okay, and if you use bias of that, then all number, negative and positive number that we can represent will be positive, 0 or positive, right? So basically, if you have 8 bits and use half of them will be negative, so it will be between 1 minus 128 to positive 127 or whatever. And then if you add to that 127, so minus 127 becomes 0. And then so in this, So that's the reason we use bias. So for example, exp range, exponential range varies from 1 minus 127 to 128. Okay. And if we add 127 to that, so this is the range of number we want to represent. Okay. If we add to that 127, then it becomes 0 to 128 plus 127, 255. All right. So for example, okay, so if we have 2 raised power 1 to represent in actual calculation, okay, then exponent is 1, then it is coded as 128. Add to that a bias of 127. So this exponent part, which is 1, is coded as this one in our format. Okay, so this will come here as an this is 8 bits, so this will come here in the 8 bits part, and this is 23 will be whatever bits we represent. Okay, if we have number 1 2 raised power some number 1 dot whatever and 2 raised power 127, then we need to add to this bias of 127. So this becomes 254, and then code 254 here as this one 8 bits. So this will come now here. Okay, is it clear?
Sir, can you repeat once why this is needed?
Okay, it's needed because we don't want to represent negative number using another sign bit. And we know in if we have 8 bits, the range is between 1 minus 127 to 128. Okay, now if you add 127, then to that before putting into here, then everything becomes positive or 0. Okay, so we don't need sign bit. Otherwise, you have to represent it using either 2's complement. Now, 2's complement you don't want to use, because by looking at it, we don't, we cannot find out if the number is bigger or smaller than other number. Okay, so think in this way that by putting bias, we are making everything in that field look positive. That's it, and we don't need sign bit notation. Okay, it will become clear. Just so essentially, all these things are designed to simplify calculations. So why we use bias notation for exponent? Answer is again the same. Remember that we want floating point numbers to look small when their actual value is small. Okay, in 2's complement number, -1 looks bigger than 0. So that's one reason. Okay, and secondly, of course, we don't want complexity of putting another sign bit there. All right, so this is the reason. So note that there is always a reason for certain things, the way it's designed, right? Because we'll have to at the end, representation has to be simple, and secondly, it shouldn't take too much time to actually code this when you're putting the data into registers or memory, because ultimately something that will go in memory is this one. So and while we are representing this number in your algorithm, etc., in certain way, but when it's coded, coding shouldn't take too much time. All right, so this is the format, and is very similar to sign and magnitude. When you look at it from outside, you can make out this is positive or negative looking at this bit, and this all represent the magnitude. If the exponent is bigger, the two numbers in the same format, the exponent value is higher, then it is bigger number. All right. So now we can represent this as follows. Okay, these things are the same, and then we can, the number, is -1 raised power s. If s bit is 0, this becomes positive 1. If it's at 1, it means the number is negative, so -1 raised power 1 is -1, so this number becomes negative. So it's a 1 dot significant into 2 raised power exponent -127. Note that if you calculate this is the actual number that we want to represent. So we from this we derive the value of exponent by subtracting bias and put that exponent here. Okay, so when we do reverse calculation, if we have this number given and from that we want to get actual number in binary, then we have to do opposite thing, just opposite, right? Take the exponent out and add to that 127, and that becomes actual number. From that you can derive the number. Okay, all right. Okay, so just I will just clean this up. All right, so it will become clear, just hold on for a while. So we can represent this also as 1 plus significant, so it makes no difference, right? Some books of course use instead of 1.0 1 plus significant, this way, right? So note that all the values of significant, whatever the bits is, the so total value is less than 1. Okay, because it's always negative power of 2. Okay, for example 1.0101, this part will correspond to 0.3125, and 0.3125 is of course less than 1. Okay, all right, any question? So it will look little tricky, right? I mean, why we are doing this minus plus of bias? Just remember that whatever number you have, say for suppose you are given some number, say 1.0101 into 2 raised power 10, or 10 of course is 1010, let's see. Okay, so in binary, so this number is, in order to create exponent field from this one, we need to add 127, binary equivalent of 127. So, or if you take it decimal, this is 10 is 127 of 10, then 137, and then binary equivalent of that. We'll have to put it here. Okay, any question? All right, so
Sir,
let's,
can you please repeat? So can you please repeat exponent part once? Like
okay, so
why?
basically we have to add bias into the whatever number is given to you. Suppose you are asked to represent this number as a, in this format, then whatever is the 2 raised power or exponent part, okay, in actual number here, you have to add to that a bias, such that if suppose had this been minus 10, 2 raised power minus 10 or minus 1010, then adding by 127, this overall number becomes positive. Okay, so exponent part has to be positive, so you add the bias. When, see the, now note that when you use word bias, what activity we are doing to change the value, we are reversing that when you are extracting the value out of it, right? Or getting some results out of that. Okay, so it is just a simple manipulation to make exponent part positive or 0 or positive number. Okay, so we'll take an example, so just hold on for a minute. Okay, now it is a normal number, it means that there is always 1 in as on the left side of the binary notation or binary dot. Okay, All right, so let's look at this number. These are 32 bits, right? 0, all this. Okay, so 0 is sign bit, it means there's a positive number, and these are the 8 bits, okay, corresponding to exponent. So these numbers will go here. These numbers are insignificant part. So what number it represent, that we have to see. So this is positive, and now this is exponent part, right? This will correspond to what number? Okay, just a minute. So this will correspond to 127, of course, yeah. So this is 7 ones, yeah. So this will be 127. Okay, and this will correspond to something. Okay, now this 127 is, now when we are doing bringing in this form 1 dot whatever, okay, into 2 raised power, then 127 that we get from here is to be added with 127. So this is the actual number, and when we code this in this format, then we do minus 127. So bits corresponding to 127 will come here, which is here. Okay, so let me just clean this up. Okay, so we are here. So the value, actual value is minus 1 raised power 0, which is positive, and then 1 is, of course, will come as a default. Then 1, this all represent, these zeros can be ignored because these are on LSB side. Okay, if you calculate this, then it turns out to be 0, so it will be 1.1. So significant gives you 1, and then you have to calculate 2 raised power of, okay, oh, I'm sorry, we have to do reverse actually, I'm sorry. So you have to take one, this corresponds to 127, and from that you have to subtract bias, not add. I'm sorry, I mean, I've said add, here it should have been, just a minute. Because sorry, while creating exponent value, then we add 127. So when we read this out, we have to subtract it, so it will be 2 raised power 0. So this is, answer is 1.1, which is equivalent to 1.5 with base 10. Okay, is it
Sir, I have question.
Huh.
So why do we need to represent one at all if we know that it will be there will be one? So we can't we can actually remove
yes,
this.
we have used it, these bits, do you see this one anywhere? So this significant here, all these bits are nothing but here, okay,
Yes,
which
sir.
are fractional part. Exponent part is here, and sign part is here. So this one is actually this intelligent coding, so we are not representing one, because by default the one is there. All right. So here you see this one, there's nothing to represent one here because we don't need it. We only represent fractional part by these bits and exponent part by this bit, these bits. Okay. All right. So just let's look at one example. It will become much clearer to you. Let me just jump few slides ahead. Okay. So we have this number. They use this C statement, F is equal to 152.13.0. Okay. Now this number corresponds to the one here. Okay. So now we have to represent this in terms of floating point number. When we put this into 32-bit space. Okay, so now you have to bring it to this notation, which is 1.1101 whatever into 2 raised power 13. because there are 13 bits after this binary point. Okay, and now this 13, so this can come here as it is in 20, this can come directly here. This 13 we have to add to that what 127. Okay, and then corresponding binary number will come here. Okay, so it's like this, that so the m part or fractional part will be this one, all these bits. Okay, so and then we have to add remaining zeros because we don't have enough bits here, so remaining zeros will come. So the 2 will go here, and then exponent part is 13, bias is 127, add to that 2, that becomes 140. A corresponding pattern is what, this one, 1000 1001 100, this will come here. Okay, so this comes here, the one here comes in fractional part, and sign will come here because it's positive. All right, any question? Let's quickly look at one more, which is again very simple. So given you one float number, which is 32-bit representation, it's a hex, so basically we'll have to convert this into 4 digits. So these numbers are, this is something that's stored, and from that we have to make out what it is. Okay, so this is, if you convert this into binary, it will look something like this. Okay, so the question is what will go where. So this is what, oh, I'm sorry, this exactly will go here. Okay, and from that we have to calculate the value. So this is 1, it means that it's a negative. Okay, and look at this number. Okay, and then we have whatever the number do minus 127, and this will come as it is. So it will become 1 dot, so minus will come 1 dot whatever is here, okay, into 2 raised power this whatever is here minus 127. So this will be the answer. So we'll do it here. So it is so actual value will be 1, this corresponds to 129. So 129 minus 127 is 2. So the value will be minus 1 raised power 1, which is minus, and then this corresponds to, we take as it is and put 1 here, so this number becomes this one dot, and this is nothing but 1 plus 1 by 4 or 1.25. So 1.25 will come here, and then 2 raised power of this number x minus bias. So it's nothing but so this one, so answer is minus 5. Is it clear? Are you able to understand it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go through it because it's not very intuitive. I mean, it doesn't, so it takes time to understand it, right? All this concept of bias, that's the only tricky thing. Okay, use of bias is very tricky thing, and then of course 1 is silent. It means that we can in normal numbers, normalized numbers, 1 need not represent in these 32 bits, right? It's already there. It's a understanding is that 1 exists, so we don't need to represent it. All right. Okay, so we'll start from here and then look at the limitations and some special cases like 0 and infinity and so on. And we also see what are the accuracies of floating point number in the next class tomorrow. Meanwhile, I will request you to please go through this slide set because and also read it from book, because what we are telling here is very limited part of what's given in the book. So please go through it and please understand this. And there will be few questions in the exam, I'm promising you. Okay. So it will be very easy for you to score marks. All right. Okay. Thank you.